Hey guys, this is Grimlok 24, and I'm back with another batch of monster videos. I will be starting today with a Lagiacrus, who is one of the more difficult, primarily underwater fights. He will go on land occasionally, but he'll spend most of his time underwater. So, in the deserted island, you'll usually find him in the far northern water room to start with, so I'll take the shortcut here to room 9. Lagiacrus is, of course, an underwater serpent-type monster, and he's not particularly weak to anything, though his greatest weakness is fire, so I will be using a fire weapon. My weapon of choice against him is the hammer, though um, my main reason for using hammer against him is just like with any other monster that I use the hammer on, his head sticks out way in front of the rest of his body, so it's easy to get headshots on him and KO him in most cases, just as he's turning. Um, he's not too difficult, or any weapon works well against him, in my opinion. I just favor the hammer. So, okay, this is the room that you will usually find him in, over here. Alright, let's get this started. So for items that break on him, you can cut his tail off, which unfortunately is kind of difficult to hit under the water, and I can't do it with a hammer anyway. You can break his hands slash claws, whatever you want to call them. You can break his chest, and just to point out, when you've broken his hands, the main way to be able to tell is you'll see like some chips in his hand, just kind of like chunks of them missing, and obviously you'll always, as with any other thing you break, you'll hear the cracking noise and some pieces will fly off of him. He'll fall on his side and kind of struggle on his side for a little while. You can break these crystalline type things on his back, where eventually you'll see that they hold like an electricity charge. Um, and then finally, or no, you can break his chest as well, and the way you'll be able to tell that is it's actually pretty obvious. You'll see some huge brown streaks along his chest once that is broken. And then finally you can break his horns, and that's also another one that's pretty easy to see. If you get a look at them right here, they're pretty visible horns, and they'll, like, a large chunk of both of them will be gone once you've broken that. So like with all the monsters that I hammer, I basically will just charge up a shot while he's doing a move on another member of the party, a shakalaka, or if you're hunting with someone else, and then I just wait for him to turn around and then release that charge shot, and it's really good for hitting him on the head. And in fact, usually you don't even have to be in all that good of a position. He'll usually do the positioning for you. He'll he'll get on the same level with you and put his head right in front of you, just like this. It's super easy to do, and that's why I love using hammer. So as far as moves he does, if you've fought any of the other underwater type monsters, I mean, obviously you've fought Royal Lujoth by now. He's got a lot of the same moves. All of these underwater serpents share a lot of the same moves. Of course, but at this point you've also seen that he has a lot of electric moves, like he shoots a lot of electricity balls. That move you saw just there is a big dashing attack where you'll see him kind of swim forward a couple times, sort of in a circular motion, and then he'll come near the top and adjust himself. He'll coil himself up and then adjust to where you look at where you are. See, he's doing it again. And this is a really fast dashing attack. You want to make sure that you are sprinting to the side long before he even starts his dash, because it's extremely fast. And speaking of dashes, now that he's enraged, and the main way you can tell he's enraged is you can see all these bubbles and kind of steamy looking stuff coming out of his mouth here. When he's enraged, you really need to be careful, because he starts going into like mega dash mode, where half, if not more of the moves that he does than just half are just dashing back and forth. Uh, there's not much you can do while he's in this mode. He's just constantly dashing around, doesn't leave much opportunity for attack. It's really just kind of a pain in general. Another thing he'll do, okay, well first I'll mention this. He has this electric move that you'll always want to be careful of. It starts to store charge in his crystals back there, as you see, and then it's just a really powerful electricity attack that surrounds him, so you want to make sure to clear out of there as soon as you see him kind of gearing up like this. Now this is his big electric move. You'll see these kind of like purplish electricity balls that also will surround him, and this stuff that does a lot of damage. So you really need to be careful. You really need to be cautious and mindful of when you go in on him, and don't spend very long in close to him. You want to just get a couple hits and then get back out, because he can pull that out at any time, and it is devastating to get hit by. So yeah, at this point you've seen a majority of his moves. Um, another move you've seen at this point is his move where he'll kind of curl up and then slam his back towards you. He'll do that once if he's not enraged, but when he is enraged, this is actually an extremely difficult move to avoid, because he will do it once, and it's easy enough to avoid it the first time, but you'll usually only kind of barely be able to avoid it. But then if he's enraged, see this move right here, and if he's enraged, he'll actually go immediately into another one. So he's extremely accurate with it. It covers a lot of distance. It's very difficult to be out of the way of. So that's why this is another fight where, if you're not actively attacking him, I would suggest always trying to be sheathed so that you can sprint. That's the easiest way to get out of his double back slam, where if you're able to sprint to the side of one of his back slams, then if you just keep sprinting in that direction away from him, then usually he won't be able to catch up to you in time to be able to hit you with that second back slam. It's something that you kind of have to practice and get used to. Hopefully I'll be able to actually show it to you in this fight before he dies. But yeah, so you can tell when he's going to leave a room or go somewhere, because he'll kind of do a little like circular motion and turn in one direction, and then he'll just start swimming away. So here he's going to go on land, and this is where the fight becomes significantly easier, because he only has a couple moves that he'll do on land, and he's a lot slower. He's just much less of a threat. He usually comes up here when he's out of stamina and hungry, as you can see right here. So we'll get a few hits on in his head. So there you see his horns are broken. You can see a nice big, like the whole tip of his left horn is just completely missing now. So that means his face has been broken. I'll try to also break his chest and his claws here. As with any serpent monster, he's got this circular attack where he swings his head around, and then his tail. That's always a pain. That'll catch you off guard very, very easily. Okay, so there goes his claws. That knocks him on his side. He'll kind of struggle for a couple of seconds like this. And we'll take a look at his claws and see what looks different about them. You can see like the kind of like the nails on the end are broken, and there's a lot of light tan type of coloring on his hands now. So next I'll try to get his chest. Alright, now he's enraged, but he's still not that much of a threat, even when he's enraged, when he's on the ground, because he's just a little bit faster, but his moves are pretty easy to dodge. One thing to point out, if you're trying to time his turn with a headshot, with a hammer, he always does, or 9 times out of 10, he will do this turn where he turns about most of the way and then does one last little turn like he just did there. And so you want to time it in such a way that you wait for his most of the way turn and then release right before he does the last little turn. And he won't do this every single time, but almost every time he'll do that. Sometimes he'll do it all in one turn, but I like to just wait either way just to be safe. And this is also a good opportunity to get a headshot on this move, because you know exactly where his head is going to end up. Alright, well he's already almost dead. Unfortunately, I didn't have a weaker fire hammer to use on him, so since this is low grade and it's kind of a strong fire hammer I'm using. It's not lasting too long, but on the bright side, he has used mostly all of his moves, so there's not too much missing out here. The only things you won't really be able to see is I probably won't be able to break both his back and his chest before he dies. But we'll see. Hopefully I can at least get his chest or his back. Of course, he's got the tail whip there. That's a pretty easy move to get out of the way. When he shoots these electric balls, he's got two different versions of it. There you can see he kind of shot those electric balls really quickly in succession, but if you see him shoot them, like if he takes a really long time to shoot just one of them, then he'll just only shoot the one and not do a second one. So if you're only expecting one, you'll definitely want to watch out for that, because he can catch you off guard with a second one if you're not ready for it. Try to get in here and get a good shot. Okay, that was his chest, so let's try to get a look at it. You can yeah, you can see there's some brown streaks along it. It's really visible. It's not hard to tell when his chest is broken. Some things to mention as far as breaking his items. He's got this low rank version has a very rare item called a plate, a Lagiacrus plate. There's a small percentage chance to carve that off of his tail, and then also there's a wound reward after you've killed him for if you break his head. There's also a chance to get that plate. Also, you can get Lagiacrus claws, which of course you will get for breaking his claws. Makes sense. And then finally, he's got a move, an item called Lagiacrus Shocker that you don't have to break his back, but you do have to have been attacking it some, at least. I've found it. Like, I've had times where I'll get shockers and I didn't break his back in the quest, but usually it seems like you do have to have done some damage to his back before you'll get them. I'm not sure you can get them without having really done anything to his back. So here he's going to where he nests, and that's in this very top left room. I think it's room 12 or something. So as with any monster, I'll give him about half a minute or so, because it takes him a while to get on land and get to sleep. So you don't want to get in there before he falls asleep, otherwise you will lose a good opportunity to do a bunch of wake-up damage to him. So I'll just give him half a minute. Let's go check on him and go tuck him in. Give him a bedtime story. So I'll try to get a hit on his back. I don't know if I'll be able to do it from this position, but hopefully. Alright, well, that finished him off. Didn't get his back there, unfortunately, but we did get everything else short of the tail, which of course I couldn't get it all with a hammer. But that is a general idea of this fight. I think you guys got to see mostly every move. I didn't get to talk about every move as he was doing them, unfortunately, but he did do all of them. So if you just review, listen to what I mentioned throughout the video, and then if you go back and watch at some points earlier in the fight before I mentioned them, he did do each of the moves. So yeah, I think this should give a good idea of how to take down a Lagiacrus, at least with a hammer. The strategy is not entirely different with other weapons, so this was pretty good. If you liked this video, then please like it. If you have any more questions about this fight, then feel free to post them in the comments. If you have any special requests, feel free to post them in the comments. And thank you very much for watching. You can catch me on my stream at twitch.tv/Grimlok24. I try to stream every night, so hope to see you there. Thank you very much. See you guys later.